Hi and welcome to
The Creative Cassette,
where we value community
over competition.
In this video we're going to be talking all about creating your own brand. This will include finding your niche, identifying your ideal audience and also your brand values, also visually representing your own brand.
Seeing as we recently rebranded ourselves, we know how difficult it can be to define your brand or know where to start. So let's get into the video.
So you've thought about a brand name and you're playing around with a logo idea, but you're really struggling with what your next step should be.
However, you've probably skipped a few steps.
The first and most important thing you want to do is really define your brand. You want to give your audience a chance to connect with your brand and also tell them what your brand is really about.
This starts with identifying your niche and what value you give to your audience. Your niche is defined by the area of expertise or the main topic of your brand that you discuss.
When we first created our brand, we went straight into creating content without defining what our niche and brand values really were. This made creating content difficult because we didn't really know what our audience wanted, and many times, we got asked, what is your brand really about? And we didn't really know what to say because we didn't actually know ourselves.
In order to define your niche, you should think about which industry you fit into the most and how you can stand out within it. For us, we fit into the creative industry, more specifically photography, and the value we bring is that we are all about community over competition, and we both met online, so it really fits.
Moving on, you need to identify the main purpose of your brand. This could be information, providing a service, or just providing entertainment, but this is something that you should really work out before you move on to the next steps.
Work out what your ideal audience struggles with and what problems they may face, and then bring them a solution, as ultimately that is how you provide value to an audience.
For our brand, we provide information and also creative community through things such as our Facebook group. Our ideal audience struggle with community over competition in the creative fields, and this is something that we help people to overcome.
You might be wondering how to define your ideal audience in order to provide this value that we've been talking about. Your audience can be split up by 3 categories: geographics, demographics, and psychographics. Work out where your ideal audience lives, what their occupation may be, what their hobbies may be, and what their values are.
Once you have this worked out, you can create content that people will want to consume and engage with, and you can also make use of trending topics in your industry.
Before we move on to creating your visual brand, we want to quickly dive into something called your point of difference. Point of difference is important because it shows your audience why your brand is unique, why people should consume your content and use your service.
As an example, our brand is unique because we have connections to other creatives who can provide knowledgeable industry insight. We also met online through photography, so we perfectly demonstrate our core value of community over competition.
And lastly, visual branding is how you're going to be implementing everything that we've talked about today. Visual branding can include anything from brand colours to fonts, logos, layouts, and yourself as the face of the brand.
To help create your visual brand, Pinterest is a really good tool to use. It can help you create mood boards, and you can also sort of get a visual feel of what you want your brand to look like and kind of look for inspiration.
Your colour scheme helps represent the overall feel of your brand. So if you go for more bright colours, it might help bring across more creative brand values like we've done, or if you go for more neutral tones, then it might give more of a professional smart feel. So you can mix both of them together though, don't shy away from that.
Our original brand colours were pink and green, but we felt that this didn't really help us connect with our audience and that they didn't really like it. We felt that the pink and green was kind of appealing more to our younger audience rather than our older audience. It kind of had like a childish feel to it, so that's part of the reason why we rebranded our colour scheme. So instead we changed our colour scheme to beige and orange, which we felt was a lot more fitting. Orange kind of represented the more retro feel, which we thought fitted with the word cassette in our brand name, the Creative Cassette. And the beige kind of gave it that more professional feel, which we didn't previously have. So this is kind of why we recommend sort of doing your research, having a look on Pinterest and kind of getting some ideas together so that you really know like what your brand you want it to look like, because we've rebranded so many times now, so it's definitely something to look at.
In terms of a logo, if you are struggling to create one and you don't have the money to hire a professional, then you can always choose to be the face of your own brand instead. Personally, we don't have a logo, and we've relied on our faces for our audience to be able to identify our brand, and that's been working quite well. Our advice regarding logos is that although they are important, they are not essential to you starting your brand in the beginning, so don't worry too much about it.
There are definitely benefits to this, as it helps to connect your brand to your audience on a personal level and they know who they're actually talking to. Before you go, we have created a free checklist for everything that we've mentioned in this video to make it easier for you guys to create your own brand. The link is in the description, and be sure to subscribe for more tips and information from us.